You want to just like a couple sentences summarizing One Roof? Or it doesn't have to be a couple sentences.
Okay, I'm like, that's true. One Roof is an organization, nonprofit organization, where you pull nonprofit organizations that are already in existence, that are already working in the community, and you put them under one roof for a cohesive, collaborative effort.
Cool.
And by doing that, you kind of take the pressure off of the nonprofit to be, they kind of can work smarter and not as hard to reach people. It's a community center, if you will, kind of like Hatch, where anyone from the community can come in. Let's say you come into One Roof and you are coming in for job training, and you look over across the way and you're like, oh, they help people buy houses. So you might come in for job training, you might leave with an edge on how to get a house. Or you come in for healthcare, you might leave with grant information for starting a business.
Cool.
So it's extending the reach of a nonprofit organization. And we at One Roof want to support the nonprofit, where we do quarterly fundraisers for them and help them. One thing that I read in a document that the PDC wrote was there's tons of nonprofits, but they rely very heavily on government funding.
Yeah.
So if we can give you one place where you're working under this one roof, and we're bringing philanthropists, donators, anyone who has private funders,
right,
all in for these big events, and you get to showcase what you're doing.
Right.
So
you have more time to be a nonprofit and do your work.
Exactly, and your reach,
fundraising
you
the
can
whole time.
extend your reach. And I want to start it in Portland, but it would be awesome to be in every major city, where anywhere you go, you can go into a One Roof, and you know any grant that's being offered, any scholarship. If you're, my mom didn't. She couldn't help me fill out a college application. You know what I mean? So it's not the reason why I didn't go to college, but it's part of the reason why I was kind of discouraged. Like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to take this to my mom.
Totally.
And my counselors at school, I feel like back then I felt like they would have laughed if I said I was going to go to college, because I was the class clown. They told me all 4 years, you need to buckle down. I was the potential kid. You got a lot of potential. But if I would have went in there and been like, hey, I never took a book home. My job is to make you laugh, but I'm going to go to college. It made me feel insecure to even think about it. So it wasn't an option for me. But if I grew up at a center going to One Roof for whatever it is, whether it's learning how to code as a teenager, or just one place where I knew I could go and get help,
right,
from a community of people that are there to help me,
right,
then I probably would have gone there and been like, hey, John, help me fill out this college application. And not get laughed at, and just feel comfortable. It's just one place where the people in the community can come and feel comfortable that they're going to get help from all these organizations that already exist, that are already there to help you.
Totally.
Throw them under one roof.
It's like hard being an adult.
Yeah, sucks being
so
an
hard.
adult.
There's like so many things I don't know how to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, think about when you start a small business. People are always saying things like, oh, there's a grant for that. Oh, you know that you can get a grant for that. And then you look online, and if you look up like grants for women in business, have you ever done that?
No.
So many things pop up, and you're opening and closing and opening and closing. It's like, what do I do? Okay, I'm tired of doing this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then you hear from another person that this is where you go. But why can't it all just be together? You know what I mean? Why can't I just go one place and they can help me? And if they don't know somebody if they can't help me, they know somebody that can help me. They can send me down the hall, you know what I mean? Or there's a database where I can get help,
Right.
And it's very easy.
So it's one physical roof.
It's literally one roof. It's like a community center.
Got it.
It's literally under one roof.
That's awesome.
Or on the website.
So you kind of touched on this, but like, what inspired you, or how's your personal background?
Well, I lived in a lot of cities that were at the beginning of gentrification, and it's not necessary to me to move people out just so you can move in. There's a lot of abandoned buildings that can be bought and fixed up, you know what I mean?
Totally.
But what if you moved into a community, or businesses moved into a community that had affordable rates, but they hired within the community, and they went to One Roof, and under this one roof, there is vocational training. People learning how to paint, people learning how to resurface, people learning how to plumbers and gardeners. Like, they're all being taught at this one place. So if you're a new company coming into this neighborhood, you can go here and find someone for the neighborhood to work on your business. And then they're learning how to do things. They're making more money. They get to stay in their neighborhood because they're not being moved out. Their homes are nicer. It doesn't have to be, I call it gentrification instead of gentrification. You're going within the community, hiring within the community that you want to live to.
Got it.
And there's tons of ways that the government, so One Roof could basically, with the model that I want to build, we would be at the very beginning stages of development in the city. So maybe the government will call us and say, hey, we're going to go into this horrible neighborhood in Detroit where the houses are just $1 and we're going to pump money in here, but we don't want it to be gentrified. We want to hire within the community. So One Roof would come in, we find the local nonprofits that are already servicing the community, and wherever there's a deficit, we will pull from another nonprofit, maybe in Oregon. Like if we have nonprofits that fill that void, we'd pull from there, and then we bring that nonprofit there. So now you have that nonprofit working in Portland and in Detroit, or Portland, Detroit, and Atlanta. You know what I mean? And it's extending the reach of what your goal is. And I can't see any nonprofit saying, no, we just want to work in Portland. You might, you know, but,
totally.
you know, if you have the opportunity to fill a void, why not? You
fill a
know,
gap.
It's just like cohesive.
It's awesome. So a lot of people, I mean, you're tackling some like huge issues, and a lot of people see these issues, and we all see them and talk about them all day long. But not everyone,
Tired of the conversation.
I'm
tired of the conversation. It's always join the conversation, and
those are the words.
I'm tired of the soapbox, you know, and I'm tired of and this started with the Black community. For me, it's always, gentrification is very white and black to a lot of people, and it's not white and black to me. It's, like I said earlier, it's real estate, you know what I mean? And I did real estate in New York for a little bit. I know prime real estate. So if somebody is moving in, it's not to push you out, it's because this location is perfect. You know, Northeast Portland, perfect, right next to Vancouver, right by Lloyd Center, right by downtown. I grew up in Northeast Portland. I literally go up and down the streets like this. Like seriously, I don't see any Black faces in Northeast Portland. And I just left my girlfriend's house on 15th and Prescott, and you might not know what that was when I was a kid, but it was crazy. And now the houses go for $23 starting. I'm like, a month, $2,300 a month?
That's crazy.
It's not necessary. People could have stayed there, learn how to work and function in the community. So One Roof also will have mental health training. There's a lot of things that across the board are not being tackled, period, in job training. And that's mental health. So if you grow up in a low income community, they say that children that grow up in a low income community suffer from PTSD. They've seen a lot of things that they should not have seen. You know, so when you're teaching somebody how to roof, and you've pulled them from this low income community, you're teaching them the skills. You're not preparing them to work with other people still. You still have to prepare them mentally we all have baggage, let's leave the baggage behind. So, did that answer your question?
Well, it was,
the reason why is because I was at the beginning of gentrification in 3 different cities, Brooklyn, Harlem, or 3 different parts of Brooklyn, Harlem, and Washington, D.C. And it's not necessary for me to move people out just so other people can come in. There's a way to do it. And no one is trying to figure it out. Everybody wants to talk about it. And I am a talker, but I'm also a doer. I'm not if you're complaining about something, let's figure out how it's going to happen. And I haven't seen anyone like I said, nonprofits, they get together and they do awesome work. But if they could all get together and work together, you know, there's a bigger picture. I think that nonprofits, every time you start a nonprofit that services the community, you're doing your job, right? You're doing your part. But if we can get everybody together to work cohesively, like what would that do? Could that tackle these issues? You can see the gaps.
And also, I mean, I was just reading about this, like in low income communities, like geography is so important. Like location is so important. Like having everyone under one roof, that really matters if you don't have a car. And like, you can't be
exactly.
Like you need to come to one place.
Exactly. Exactly. Like if your kid, if you grew up in that community and you want better for yourself and you want better for your kids, but you only have $20 for gas, you know, and you have 3 meetings. You got one roof to go to, and you can go there, and anytime you're taking a vocational class, we'll have childcare for you. So you don't have to.
It's awesome.
You know,
it's a huge idea.
It's huge,
Yeah,
but it's possible.
it's amazing.
You know,
of course.
There's a lot of huge ideas, and that's what took me so long to do it, is because it was very much like, this is crazy, this is insane, but it's possible.
Yep.
Because it's already happening. I'm not reinventing the wheel. You know what I mean? Already there are so many nonprofits doing all these things.
Right.
What happens if we put them together? What happens if we put them together in a community that needs it and just fill the gaps in from other nonprofits from all around America?
Got it. So that's what you're doing differently.
Yeah, that is just putting everyone together under one roof.
Perfect.
There you have it.
Okay, so what do you need right now in terms of like from your community, like expertise, resources, besides just straight capital, which we all need?
We need straight, I need some legal advice. I need to know, I'd love to work with a government official that does city planning.
Yep.
I need childcare. Anybody want to watch my babies? I need a solid format where, like a teaching. So next I want to do some classes, you know what I mean? Just teach everybody, show people the idea of how it will work. It's like a trickle down, you know what I mean? It's called infiltrate, educate, rebuild, rebrand. So to me, that's the cornerstones of One Roof is you infiltrate an area that needs you, whether it's the government that brings you in or the community gets together and they say, hey, we need you.
Calls you in, yeah.
Calls you in. So we infiltrate, we find the people who are already doing the work. We train them to educate other people in their community. So everything is within the community.
Right.
The nonprofits are from their community. So we infiltrate, we find the people who are doing it, we educate them, and then so that's the educate part. We bring people in who want to learn these trades. We educate them not only in vocational skills training, but we teach them mental health, conflict management, conflict resolution, finance, personal finance, things that are, okay, now you have this money, what are you gonna do with it? You know, now that you have these skills, you have the skills, but you have a bad attitude. You know what I mean? Like, let's curb that. Let's teach you how, let's deal with these things. And then rebuild. So you go out into your community, and whether you're doing gardens or you're painting your neighbor's home or whatever it is, you're rebuilding your community with your own 2 hands. Yep. And if you've ever done an art project,
it's so important.
Have you ever done it? No matter how bad it sucks, you're like, I made this.
Yeah,
I made
totally.
this. So you're instilling pride in the community with the community members. You know, you're literally rebuilding the infrastructure from the ground up. And then rebrand. You know, you bring in new stores. You bring in people who
rebrand the whole city.
Yeah, you rebrand or that whole low-income community where now people are coming in, and again, they're not pushing other people out because these people have the capacity to work with them.
Totally. I love it. Last question, just a broad question. Why should we care?
Because isn't that that's the hardest question?
Yeah, I mean, like, well,
Why should we
because
care?
you've answered it 4 times.
I mean, why should we care? Because there's enough to go around.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's enough to go around.
We have enough resources in this country for everybody. Like, they are
Everyone.
not being allocated properly. I say it all the time.
Period.
Yep.
Period. There's enough to
No
go
one
around.
should
It's
be
not about me
without
coming
job
in
or-
and having this job, and it's not about the property value being raised and pushing everyone out so they can't afford it. Give them the jobs to raise their own property. To afford it.
Yeah.
Give them the skills to be able to say, I'm going to sell you my house, but not because I have to,
right?
Because I want to. I'm
been a
tired of this
great deal.
community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give everyone the resources. There's enough to go around.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.